to the mist-covered banks of the Hudson Valley, and all across the globe, the signal drifts through the night. This is Midnight Signals. Now, here are your hosts, Sergeant Shenanigator and Alien Mike.
Hey, Mike, what's going on, man?
Hey, what's up, buddy? How are you doing?
I'm doing great. You ready for some more controlled chaos tonight?
Definitely. Hope you are as well.
I am. How's your week been, though?
It's been a long week. It's been a busy week, but it's been going good. How about you?
Oh, yeah. A lot of investigation on this subject. Going through a state inspection at work, but we got it all taken care of. Everything was good.
There you go. Looks like we've already got a bunch of people in chat.
Sakona's on here. Yep. Everybody's on here. Welcome to everybody.
Jay, Carl Svensson from Sweden. Here. How are you doing, my friend?
We got this young lady. I don't know who she is.
I've never seen that name before. Gonna have to do some digging into that one.
Hey, we got Nadine's joining us now.
Oh, very nice. Let's see, Nadine. Sue, how are you doing, Sue?
So, you ready? You ready to have a good time tonight?
I am. I hope you are as well.
Here's our topic right here. So this is one that I'm excited for. I know you've been doing some research. I've been doing some research, and I'm going to tell everybody watching tonight, if you see us looking down and it's not looking like we're paying attention to each other, I've got like 13 pages of notes here. I'm sure you've got just as many.
Yep, I've got quite a bunch in a notebook, and then I've got tabs open all over the computer. Like, there was just so much going on in this that I had heard about the Montauk Project before, but never really dove deep into it. And I had heard about the relationship between it and something else, but
we got the horrific podcast joining us too.
Welcome. Hey, what's going on? Got quite a few people in here tonight. That's awesome.
I love it.
But yeah, it was a lot to go through, and I could talk for hours and do multiple episodes on just this because there's so many different sections of it.
Well, I'm glad you brought that up because I think we are going to do multiple episodes on this. It's, some people, if you guys have read up on this, you probably read that it's also part of the Philadelphia experiment.
Yep.
We've decided we're going to do another episode on that and come back to Montauk again. I mean, this thing just keeps getting bigger and bigger.
Yeah, I thought last week with the Zone of Silence, I kept saying there was so much to unpack in it, and I thought there was a lot involved in that one, and I was wrong. There was not a lot compared to this. There is just so much to go through, but it's been a hell of a ride. It's been a lot of fun.
So, but if you're ready, we'll get started.
Sounds good to me.
All right. Well, this is a small American town, a secret government laboratory hidden in plain sight, children being ripped from their normal lives and turned into test subjects, experiments in psychic power, time travel, and a door to another world, the Upside Down. Does this sound like the hit series Stranger Things on Netflix?
100%.
It is. Long before Hawkins, Indiana appeared on our screen, these stories were whispered about in a real place on the far end of Long Island. As a matter of fact, the original pitch for Stranger Things was called Montauk.
Yeah. That's something. Did you ever find out why they changed it? I know it's kind of
the Montauk was just their pitch title. They just wanted to pitch the studios,
and then came up with something else.
Yeah, they didn't want to have to film at an area like the far tip of Long Island. They wanted it to be someplace vast where they could have a large town plus a secret government facility. Mm-hmm. But everything that is in Stranger Things, except for the Dungeons and Dragons references, are all based on the Montauk Project conspiracies.
Yep. Yeah, I knew the relationship somewhat between the two, but I didn't know it was they basically got everything from the show came from Montauk for the most part.
Even the Demi
Yep.
that's based on what we're going to talk about tonight.
Sure is.
Well, give you a quick history of what this place is. It was originally called Camp Hero, and in 1941, it was a World War II coastal defense station. So similar to the Battle of LA that we talked about.
Yep.
This was set up to defend New York.
Yep.
After that, in 1953, it converted to a Cold War radar station using the SAGE network. And what the heck was it called again?
Isn't it
The name of the radar?
the name of the what?
The AN-FPS 35.
Yeah.
The largest radar that they had in existence at the time.
The 70 tons, I believe they said.
Yep.
How big it was.
It's still standing today.
Yep.
So, but it continued. It continued that until the base officially closed in 1981.
Yep.
So that's pretty much the history of the station right there. That's all the Air Force has ever claimed it was.
Yep.
But the weird thing is, in 2002, it became a state park, and they gave all the property back to New York. But I ran a title search, and it really shocked me. It's one of the only places where the ground is, the title is in the state of New York. The underground is still owned by the federal government.
Really?
Yes.
That's interesting.
So if anybody wants to do a title search, it took me a couple of minutes to find it, but the government still owns everything below ground.
I wonder why.
It's a good question. I think we're going to get into it tonight.
Yep, we definitely are.
So before we get going, you want to introduce the cast of characters we're going to talk about tonight?
So there are, let me pull up my notes now. Here we go. So the three main people that I saw involved in it were Preston Nichols, Duncan Cameron, and Al Bielek. I don't know about you, but I didn't find much about Al Bielek, and what I didn't really relate to what we're talking.
It ties into what we're going to do on the next episode.
Yeah, and that's where I kind of you bounce back and forth so often in this, trying to put everything in order of the events, and it was really crazy how it happened. So it was, it shut down in 81, and then in 80, I want to say early 83, it was Peter Nichols had Preston Nichols, had gotten word about them doing experiments and whatnot at Montauk and headed over there. And as he was kind of exploring around, he ran into what looked to be a homeless guy, and that would be Duncan Cameron. After talking, for a while, Duncan, he says that he kept looking at Preston and he looked familiar, could never place why. And then all of a sudden he kind of realizes that and tells him, hey, you were the one in charge of this project, which of course blew his mind. He doesn't know anything about it. And that's where they kind of started working together to try to figure out what was going on and sorry, I've got people messaging me and it's starting to drive me nuts. That's where they started working together, to kind of figure out what the project was and what's the proper term, memory regression or regress memories, however they say it, trying to figure out everything. So that's kind of the gist of where it started.
But I think you missed one important character in this.
I did, Peter Moon.
Then you missed two important characters in this.
Oh.
The biggest character of all,
Okay.
The Montauk chair, which is the center of all of our chaos tonight.
Yeah, you are right. And see, I'm just going off of people, but you are right. The Montauk chair, that's the center of the whole thing.
Yeah. So you're going to hear us jump back and forth to this chair all night long.
Yep.
But I think first we need to talk about the Montauk boys.
Okay. So what did you find on the Montauk boys?
What I found was that the government was going out to like teen centers
Mm-hmm.
that were their main focus was on runaway teens, homeless teens.
Yep.
And they were actually kidnapping these teenagers and bringing them back to Montauk, and they were conducting experiments on them.
Yep.
Not everybody was kept. Some of them, they went through the experiments, realized they didn't have what it took, and they were just released.
Right.
Most of them were released with no knowledge of whatever happened. But
Yep.
if you did come forward and say they remembered bits and pieces and fragments of things that were going on.
Right. And I know that I can't think of the show, but I believe I just watched a documentary. It might have been the one that you had recommended, the
Montauk Chronicles.
right. And I believe it was that one where they had people that there was one or two guys that were actually, they said, a part of the Montauk boys, that these are the ones that came out and said what was going on, but there was never any proof or evidence that these particular guys were involved in it.
Now, I do know that what I've read, there's never been anything official on it, but it's hard for me to just discount it as a couple of crackpots making up stories because of the information we have from MK Ultra.
Yep.
Where they didn't admit it, but they never denied doing projects on the unwilling, prisoners, soldiers,
Yep.
homeless. So that got me thinking, is this a possibility? What do you think?
I 100% think it's a possibility. I think that there's a lot that has probably been embellished. They're making, like, the theories are, there's a lot more, or they say a lot more is happening than really did happen, but I believe that experiments happen and are most likely still happening. I mean, so it's.
But I guess we should get into what the experiments were. What these guys were supposedly doing.
Well, with the boys, it involved, or kind of, there's a few different things that they did, from mind control and programming to psychic training, time travel or interdimensional travel. And I know they use them for military applications and things like that. But it kind of, everything that I looked at, it kind of comes back to, here's the theories, here's what they say they were using them for, but where is the proof? Where's the evidence that all of this did happen? Or, give me something substantial instead of just a story.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's my thing is, I mean, I do believe that stuff was happening, but you're never going to get a straight answer from somebody. No. And that's what I'm looking for.
So, but yeah, that I do know that Project Stargate, they did a lot of work with younger kids on remote viewing and supposed time travel.
Yep.
And part of what they were doing at Montauk was remote viewing.
Mm-hmm.
Remote viewing's never been disproven. It's the government has admitted that Project Stargate existed, and they used remote viewing successfully.
Right.
And
that
was it happening here?
Yeah. That's something that I think that's a whole other topic, that I know it's involved in this, but I could go into a whole nother episode for, the whole thing with remote viewing is fascinating.
Yeah. So,
So,
but tie all these experiments together, and now we're back at the chair.
yep. And that, like you had mentioned at the beginning, that's where every part of this goes right back to that chair. So, what do you know about the chair? Like, what did you read or research or find out about the actual chair itself?
What I found out about the chair was it was basically used as a psychic amplifier.
Yeah.
So whatever experiments they were doing, it was used as an amplifier. And it goes to Stranger Things, where Eleven's hooked up to all the wires.
Mm-hmm.
If Montauk was the actual inspiration, she would have been in that chair.
Yep.
Doing all those experiments.
Yep. And I couldn't imagine, being a young teen and getting kidnapped or taken or however you want to put it, and stuck in a chair and said, "Here you go. We're going to run a bunch of tests on you like this." Yeah.
So, I know we've talked a little bit about what we were going to talk about tonight. I forgot to bring up Project Phoenix.
Okay.
And Project Phoenix was moved from the Brookhaven lab to Montauk base because it needed the monster radar dish. And what they were using that for is it was supposedly tied into the chair.
Mm-hmm.
And it enabled the remote viewing, the psychic control, the time manipulation to be amplified. And the conspiracy behind that is, here's this dish that should be tied into a radar dish. But people that worked there said not only was it tied into a radar dish, it was tied into 60 computers at the same time.
Yep.
So what do you need 60 computers to run on a radar dish that should just be radar screens?
Yeah, there's I don't even know how to answer that. It doesn't make sense, to have that many unless you're doing something nefarious with it. So, now if I'm correct, Phoenix came right after Montauk, right?
Now, Phoenix was actually part of Montauk, but it started out as part of MK Ultra.
Oh, okay.
Moved it to Montauk for privacy reasons and because of the underground labs that are supposedly there.
Yep.
So I read that right before we went on. It popped up on my research and didn't even have a chance to talk to you about it.
Yeah, I thank goodness for the internet. Because I heard, I didn't know anything about it, so I pulled it up too, and it shows the connection to the Montauk Project, the boys, and I guess the Montauk boys were trained and tested under the Project Phoenix.
So, but now that we've talked a little bit about the chair, let's get back to the other characters.
Okay.
Let's start with Duncan Cameron and
Preston, right?
Preston, yes. What's the connection there?
So, this will probably jump around a little bit. So I'm sure anybody that looked into it heard about the Montauk Monster, and not the one that was in like 2008 or whatever that washed up on the shore, but the one had to be around 1980 or so, because it got shut down in 81. So he was one of the Montauk boys, Duncan, and apparently conjured this monster up. And he was they say the strongest psychic, the one with the best abilities or the strongest abilities. So they used him, I guess, the most. And so he's the one that conjured the monster. Then the base was shut down, or the project was shut down. And then I guess the next thing I had read is he was just homeless. That was it. He had nowhere to go.
That's what I've read too.
Yeah. And that kind of goes back to what I was saying earlier, where Preston Nichols had heard that they were doing all this stuff and went there to, I guess, investigate or see what was left of the Montauk Project, and stumbled across Duncan. And after that, that's kind of where my research ended on that part of it. Was they had met, they found out who each other was, and then started working together to figure out what everything was about.
I would say let's fast forward, but no, I think let's go back in time a little bit.
Okay.
Who Preston and Duncan were back during the project. Once they started investigating and started piecing things together.
Yeah, so they found out, that Duncan was, if I'm correct, he was one of the Montauk boys, and then Preston was in charge of the whole thing. He was the one that told everybody what to do or why to do it.
So what I came up with comparing it to Stranger Things is Duncan was 11.
Yep.
And Preston was Papa.
Yep. 100%.
The best way I could explain it based on everything I've read and seen this week.
Yeah, and I did try to find out more information on everything that Preston did or supposedly did with his involvement, but I didn't really find all that much, except for everything I found just said, here's what the project was, here's what they did, and here's these people.
Yep.
But trying to connect the dots was tricky because it, as you already said, it all goes back to Philadelphia, and it was tough. And to try to, so is 11 based off this kid? Yes.
Yes, he is.
11 based off of Duncan Cameron.
I believe in one of the things I read at the time, Duncan was only like 14, 15, 16, somewhere in there. Couldn't really get an age, but he was a teen.
When
He was going through the experiments.
Oh yeah, when he was going through the experiments, that's what I figured too. Was he about 14 and then, or 15 or so, and then when he met Preston, he wasn't but a couple years older.
Yeah. This would have been the late 70s into the early 80s when all this was going on.
Yep, the projects were 70s and 80s, and 83 was when they met. So, I mean, I know or at least I don't think he was even 18 yet. So I couldn't imagine being one of those kids, and then all of a sudden they have no use for you, and you're just stuck on the street with nowhere to go.
So, Jay, conspiracies are that, yes, it's still being used.
Yeah.
If you go there and you're caught jumping the fence, you will be arrested.
Oh, yeah.
Even though it's a state park, the fenced area is still off limits. And rumor is they are still using it, but there's no proof of it.
Yeah. That's what I did try to find that out, is if there was anything still going on there, but you're not gonna. I didn't find a dang thing about it. So
I do know that the U.S. Coast Guard still patrols it.
Mm-hmm.
They have government cars come and go throughout the weeks. So, are they going inside and doing anything? Nobody knows.
Right. And that's, I mean, this whole thing, it's been a lot of fun. It's been so hard to keep on top of everything that's going on. And like you said at the beginning, there is so much that we're relying on all these notes we've written down that to go. We're just going back and forth. It's so tricky to stay on top of it all.
Oh,
But
it is.
it's
So, what we do know for sure is this place exists.
yep.
The government for years kept claiming there are no tunnels down there, but in reality, it was a Cold War bunker. There are tunnels down there that they. Now, how many levels it goes down, nobody knows.
Yep.
But
And
there
that,
were
that
tunnels.
was that was something that I did, find out in research was, some people say there's tons and tons of levels, and then other people say, there's really not that many.
Personally, I can't. It's hard for me to say because of the water level that you
Yeah,
can't dig that deep.
yeah,
Because the water level in Manhattan is the same thing, but
mhm.
we've got tunnels under Manhattan that go down 150 feet.
Right. And I'm sure you remember me talking in previous, meetings about this, that I was having such trouble with one particular podcast episode I was trying to listen to. It wouldn't play no matter what I did. Finally got it to play. And that was the big thing they touched on was if there's tunnels under there, how deep are they? How many are there? Because of the water level, the ground, sorry, I got distracted reading. The ground, the minerals and all that. Like, was it
Yeah.
possible for them to dig that deep?
And I'm going to have to say they could dig deep because, I mean, the one thing we forgot to mention is back during World War II, and I'm sorry, Spooky. The favorite part of making this podcast is just getting to hang out with Mike and
Yep.
investigate things that we both love. What I'd like to see it grow to become, I'm not really sure how to
You
answer.
cut out for a sec. What'd you say?
I'm not sure how to
I-
answer what I'd like to see it grow.
Yeah.
I'd love to have more people watching it, but I just enjoy hanging out with you and seeing the comments come up and hang out with the people that are interested in the same things we are.
Yeah, and that's exactly where I'm at. I mean, we talked about this, I think, last week that, last week's episode was one of the better episodes that we had as far as viewers and all that. And yeah, I'd like to see it be extremely successful, but if it doesn't, I don't care. I get to see you,
Yeah.
get to hang out with you and talk, so
Well,
that's the important thing to me is being able to just talk to everybody that's here.
right. So back to Duncan and Preston.
Yeah,
Preston.
I'm going to have to stop you there real quick. I believe you have a picture of Preston and Peter with the book.
Oh, you know what? I forgot about the book.
I did too. So in all my research about Montauk Project, I always came back to this, and I could never figure out why until honestly today. That book was written in 92 or 93 by Preston and Peter, and that's kind of what threw Montauk Project into the spotlight. Sorry, I was reading the chat there.
Sorry.
So
if you guys will take a moment, click that like button. That helps us grow.
Yeah, it definitely helps.
Yeah.
But that's where it started getting pushed into the spotlight and why people started talking about it. And then also everything I found out is nobody knows what the book is as far as fiction, nonfiction. I've heard every single possible genre that it's true but made into a fictional story or vice versa. But I wanted to point that out because that's where it all started, and that's how we're where we're at now.
Every podcast you listen to on it, every video you watch on it, the Montauk Chronicles, it all started with that book.
Yeah, none of it would have existed without that.
So they're done taking children. They've got from what I've heard, they had anywhere from like 4 kids to a dozen kids
Yep.
that were part of this. And Duncan was the one with the greatest ability.
Yeah,
He was the one that could manipulate time, could time travel, he
Yep.
could remote view.
Yeah, and every time I read something like that, I tried to find more information on him, because if you're able to do that, yeah, I want to know all about you.
There's,
And
there's, yeah, exactly. I mean, he's done. He's in
the
the Montauk
Chronicles.
Chronicles.
Yep.
He's been on some other shows, but he doesn't really like to come out because it's like as soon as he does something like that, hundreds of people come out and just discredit him.
Yeah.
You
And so, I mean, I don't blame him. That would
No.
be, I would probably do the same thing. But, you know, I've just been trying to find more information on him, and, you know, everything that he was involved with as far as the project. And, you know, everything just kind of came back to he's the one that was the strongest, had the strongest abilities, and could do everything. So they used him the most. And then when the project got shut down, they said, "See you later."
So at this point, we're at 1981. The
Mhm.
post is officially closed down. But according to the book, according to the Montauk Chronicles and several other, podcasts, it kept running for 2 more years. But
Yeah.
at this point, the kidnappings were done. They had their children.
Yep.
They had their teenagers. They
Well, I
were
mean,
they were just starting to really. I mean,
Yeah.
basically, what I got out of it is abuse them psychically.
Mhm.
I mean, they were pushing these guys to get in that chair and spend as much time in there as they could.
Yep. And, you know, the more I looked into the chair and how that was all done, it honestly reminded me of, I'm sure people on here have heard about the new show, the new Stephen King show, The Institute, but
Yep.
it's all about ESP and all that. And in the show, that's what they are doing, is pretty much just torturing the hell out of the kids emotionally, psychically, physically, to get the results they wanted. And the, you know, dozen kids they found, what I think it does.
I agree.
Yeah. Because I know over the few years they were doing it, there was a few hundred kids they said they had taken, or teenagers that they had taken, and they kind of found the best ones and stuck with those and used that until the very end.
So, but here's where it kind of ties into the Upside Down. Is between 1981 and 1983. They start not just time traveling, but they find out they have the ability to manifest things, especially Duncan. And not just from this planet. He's able to manifest things. He claims to have visited other planets.
Mm-hmm.
And he's able to manifest that here on Earth. That not something in his mind. It was like you could physically touch what he's manifesting.
Yep. And that's, you know, what I saw also was, you know, if he thought about an apple, he could take it from his imagination and make it appear right there on the table in front of you.
And that's when he became pretty much the king of the Montauk chair.
Yep.
He was spending more time in that chair than any other boys in the project.
Yep. And I mean, that's got to be rough for sure, to be taken and constantly stuck in that chair and made to do all these things. You know, it's got to be very taxing on them.
Oh, definitely.
I was going to go somewhere else with that, and I just lost my train of thought.
Oh,
my goodness.
My
Anyway.
train derailed hours ago.
Yeah, pretty much. But you're right. It all boiled down to it, or comes back to that chair. I mean, no matter where you go in the experiments, it was always back to that.
Yep. And I'm bringing up the manifesting objects because we're coming to the end of what happened to the project.
Yep.
What Preston figured out, if I remember right, and correct me if I'm wrong. Well, before we go there,
I thought about that same thing too, Nadine, is why just one?
could never find an answer.
Yeah, I didn't either. Preston and Duncan, and then I believe what I did find about Al Bielek, they only referenced one chair. They never said chairs. So I assumed there was only one, but there could have been multiple, and we just don't know.
I wish we had an artist rendition of what they said this chair looked like, because they explained it in the Chronicle, in the Montauk Chronicles. I know they explained it in the book.
Yes.
This chair was huge, and it was actually the one tied to all the computers, not the rail.
And I looked for that too, and I think I had sent a picture or two over to you of images I had found that people just write. You know, you can post any image online, and but you don't know. And
so here's the best description. I think I brought this up to you last time we talked. If there's anybody out there that has watched Stargate SG-1,
yeah, yeah,
when they find the chair in Antarctica, that is what they're describing in the Montauk Project.
right.
A chair that you sit in, and you're basically tied into it. Your fingers are controlling things. You've got everything wired to your head. So whoever's in that chair is not just using his mind to do things. He is controlling the chair,
Yeah,
physically and psychically.
yep.
So I think the reason it was only one chair is it was just way too big.
Yeah, and that's why I think the picture that I sent gave, up until you mentioned Stargate, gave the best kind of idea of how massive it was.
Yeah, it wasn't just a chair that you'd sit in. It was
Right.
the room was part of the chair.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Yeah.
and then they had just like in Stranger Things, they had the one-way mirror and all the computers and everything on the other side, and that's where Preston would sit and watch the experiments. But inside that chair, with all the wires coming through the walls, it was a complete silent room.
Yep.
There was zero distractions in there.
The one thing that I really want to know more about, and I already planned on getting the book, because I'm hoping that it will have the information I'm looking for. But, you know, they talk about when Preston met Duncan and how they started working together to figure out how they knew each other, like everything about it. What, you know, I want to know what kind of happened after that, because everything I saw, all they said is they started working on remembering everything, but they didn't give many details after that.
And it's funny that Nadine mentions this, because conspiracies have gone to Antarctica.
Mm-hmm. There's
there are conspiracy theories that this project has continued there.
Yep, I saw that. I mean, there's so much that goes on in Antarctica, supposedly, that. But yeah, it's been a lot of fun. I don't know if you really want me to bring it up or not, but I know we're going to do a whole other episode on.
Bring it up. This is fascinating to me as well.
The now Philadelphia. So Al Bielek and his connection to, well, first of all, didn't Preston actually work on the Philadelphia experiment?
Yes, he did.
Okay, and then that's what I guess got him into like his first involvement with all this. but if anybody knows about the Philadelphia experiment, they're trying to make the was it a battleship go invisible or
The USS
something?
Lexington.
Yeah. No, I thought it was the Eldridge.
Now,
Wasn't it the Eldridge?
the Eldridge, yes, the USS Eldridge.
Okay. But this is the one thing I never found information on is they say Al Bielek, who we didn't really talk about, was one of the guys that disappeared from the Eldridge.
Mm-hmm.
But he went by a different name and I guess traveled to like 2150 or somewhere in the future and then came back. And I never really got his connection to Montauk though. And I don't know if you did.
The only connection I got to Montauk was he came back and Preston basically this is from the Montauk Chronicles.
Mm-hmm.
Preston met him there and said, "You're not supposed to be here.
Yeah.
We need to get you back to your time."
And
they sent him through once, sent him back to his time. This is when he came back. What was his name? When World War II?
Edward something.
Ed. Yeah.
It was two brothers.
As Ed. And then they did the Philadelphia Experiment 2, which took place off the coast of Long Island near Montauk.
Right. Okay. Yeah, I tried to figure it out, when we first, did our first meeting about this. I tried looking up anything I could, and the only thing I ever found was that it was him and his brother on the Eldridge. Everybody was basically gone except for those two, and then he showed up as Al.
And I'm sorry, I was wrong. They didn't get him sent back to his time. He stayed in the future in 19.
What did he?
Yeah, he didn't make it back.
Okay, yeah. See, because what I noticed was he went from 40, 42, 43, whatever that happened to 21 something, and then
when he get back, he came
in
to the 70s or 80s.
Yeah,
and that's where he was stuck.
Oh, okay. But that's the one thing that I tried to find a little bit more information on because it just drove me nuts not knowing exactly.
Well, we're gonna devote an entire episode to those two projects right there.
I think that would be a lot of fun.
The Philadelphia experiment happened, whether it's how the conspiracy theorists say it happened, or if it was simply just trying to demagnetize a ship so it wouldn't attract the magnetic minds of the time.
Right.
Either way, that experiment happened. There's no denying that there was a project that they were trying to hide a battleship.
Yeah, and that, at first when we wanted to, decided to talk about this, and I found out that it had to do with the Philadelphia, I was so blown away because I knew of both of them, but not many people knew that they worked together, one and the same.
Yeah,
that they involved each other. So
yeah, we're definitely doing that episode here in the near future. It's amazing how much just gets tied back to this little tiny point in Long Island.
Yeah, this is probably the funnest episode I think we've done, but it's also been the most difficult in a way.
This whole thing is 100% controlled chaos.
Yeah, because
it goes so many different directions.
Yeah. The only thing that I could even think of doing is basically writing a script and just reading it. But even doing that, I thought you're going to jump around so much that you may as well just do what we're doing.
So, but now we need to get into the Montauk Monster.
Yes, that. I don't. If anybody's Googled it or you're from New York and you've seen it or stuff on it, everything that I pulled up, it always there you go. The Montauk Monster. They always show the one from I think it's 2008 that washed up on the beach, and everybody says it was it came from the Montauk Project, but then there's what's the island right off of the coast? The one with the animal place. Plum Island. That's the name of it.
Oh,
Isn't it? Isn't it Plum
yep.
Island? Yeah. Um. So
Yeah, Plum
I don't
Island,
think.
Island.
Yeah, I don't think that has anything to do. That monster has anything to do with what happened, because the one that Duncan Cameron supposedly conjured was back in like 1980. So I really couldn't find anything on that other than he conjured a monster. So I don't know what you found out about it.
What I found out about it started out when the Montauk boys are now they're angry. They're done with what's going on.
Mm.
And they have decided that they're going to end the project regardless of what Preston said.
Okay.
So without Preston knowing, Duncan took the chair, and he was supposed to do an experiment. But in his mind, he was going to do his own experiment and conjure this monster to end the Montauk tunnels, the Montauk Project, and all the boys were going to assist him with it and manifest this monster into where they were to start destroying things.
Mm-hmm.
And Duncan was going to control the monster.
So a cast of it. Yeah, I believe I read something on that, but that was pretty much everything that I had heard. Like, I couldn't find anything else. Saw a cast as raccoon sized, but it had a beak, and naturally the carcass disappeared.
Yeah, I actually saw a side by side comparison of the carcass next to a raccoon laying down, and in my mind, there is no way that was not a raccoon.
Yeah, I've seen. I think the first picture that I pulled up and showed you, we both looked at it and laughed and like, there's no way that this is what they're talking about.
Yeah,
but
the Montauk monster that destroyed the base, it's similar to the Upside Down in Stranger Things.
Yeah, like with the Demogorgon that comes out, and
it came through a tear inside the room,
mm-hmm.
and just started destroying everything. In the Montauk Chronicles, and you guys decide what you want to believe or not. We'll talk about our opinion at the end, but supposedly this was eight levels.
Mm-hmm.
And the chair, for some reason, was on level 6.
Yep.
Why you wouldn't put the chair all the way at the bottom, I don't know.
Yeah, I didn't understand that either.
Yeah, and then the controls were on level 5, and the monsters started out on level 6, then went up to level 5 and started destroying all the computers and everything that were running it. And the big conspiracy is that monster is still roaming the tunnels underneath Montauk today.
Yep.
He was never put back into wherever they manifested him from.
So, I mean, going off of that, I mean, if there's still doing work down there, it's trapped down there with them. Have Netflix finish that.
Actually, the final season, I think, starts this month.
You talking about Stranger Things?
Yeah.
November 26th.
November. That's right. They had to push it back because of issues with filming.
Yep. So they just came out not too long ago and said it'll be November 26th.
Yeah. So I'm looking forward to it, especially after reading this. I'm looking for how they end that series.
I am too. I was watching it last night. I remember when it first came out and everybody was just up in arms about how amazing this show was. And I thought, yeah, right. And then I got hooked. Me and Jordy got hooked watching it. But now knowing the connection between that and Montauk Project, I'm looking at it with a new set of eyes. Like, it's completely different now.
Yep. So Yeah, after the Montauk monster destroyed everything in the tunnels,
Hmm.
then they unofficially ended the project and supposedly started sealing up all the tunnel entrances and even collapsing some of them.
Yeah.
So,
I,
what I can say is I don't have the evidence yet. I'm looking for it. What I've recently found is there were two aerial drone companies that went out and did LiDAR over the base,
okay.
not with permission. So they're kind
Yeah.
of being really secretive about it. But their LiDAR has shown there are tunnels underneath that base.
Did with what you saw or found, did they give any hint at size or levels?
No, because they had to stay so far away for fear of getting caught,
Hmm.
they can say they know for a fact one, possibly two levels. But if they get in there and do ground penetrating, then they could know for sure.
For
And
sure.
yes, there were weird things happening every time that satellite thing on top moved. It would rotate every 12 seconds,
Hmm.
and wherever that satellite was pointed, animals would act strange. The people in the area would get migraines. It interfere with all electronics.
Is that recently or
The
back?
radar,
Yeah. Is that um, with it rotating recently, or is this back
no,
then when
that was
that was?
back during the time that it was operational.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that thing hasn't, except maybe bumping around during high winds, it hasn't moved since
Oh, okay.
1980.
Yeah, I was a little confused by that. Yeah,
Strange things happen when that radar tower would rotate.
yeah. So I'm not one that generally believes in a lot of conspiracy theories. I absolutely love them because some of them are just so off the wall or they're just interesting. But
Yeah,
with I don't know how to explain how I feel about this one. I believe they've done stuff there, but what exactly that's where I don't know if that makes sense.
what's this question right here?
Has anyone ever interviewed any of the residents that? Yeah, there's been
Yes,
people that were interviewed.
they actually during the time it was operational, major media outlets interviewed them
Yeah,
because of don't ever be sorry
yeah,
to ask too many questions.
that's exactly what I was going to say. Yes, ask as many questions as you want.
But yeah, major news outlets interviewed many of them because they were complaining of, and it wasn't from the time it went operational either. It didn't go on from 1953 to the official closing of 81. It was just during
The last couple of years, I think.
they started having issues.
Hmm.
And that would have been around the time that the Montauk Project was really amplifying.
Yep.
So, but yeah, interfered with electronics, which it never did up to the 70s.
Hmm.
It interfered with landline telephone calls. Animals would try and run away from it.
Yep.
Some animals would just fall over. And then health issues, migraines. I can't remember for sure, so don't hold me to this if I'm wrong. But I think there was even an uptick in cancer rate in the area.
I did see that as well. It's yeah, it's definitely a lot of weird stuff have happened around it.
Now, and on this conspiracy of that satellite being tied into the Montauk Project, that's
Mhm.
that's where I start. I don't know if I 100% believe, but it's strange that nothing was happening from like 1953 up to the early to mid 70s.
Mhm.
But that antenna, that satellite, was still operational during those times.
Yeah. Question. I know at least two people that are trying to pet it.
Yeah, I think they're both related to me too.
Yeah. I'd be very interested if everyone could watch the movie so we can talk about it more, because this one is so deep. Yeah, I just watched the movie again, and I'll watch it again. I have no problem with that, and we can talk about it. It's,
Oh,
I mean,
sorry,
Steve,
I
you
put the
said it.
wrong.
You said it absolutely perfect. That it's just controlled chaos. Like I've I spent a lot of the week trying to figure out how to put this out there in a way that doesn't make it look like we're just sitting here stumbling through, but it's very difficult. Even every podcast that I watched or listened to, they did the exact same thing. They went from asking one question to bouncing back to the 40s to the 80s to the 70s. It was all over the place.
And horrific podcast.
Yes,
No, we would love to come on and review a movie.
yeah, I would do that in a heartbeat.
I'll reach out to you, man. We'll see if we can set something up.
Yeah, we can definitely do that.
So here, I'm gonna break down my opinion real quick, and then I'll let you break down your opinion.
Okay.
Uh, the Montauk boys, I'm not 100% sure on, but MK Ultra probably said, or it leads me to believe it's possible because that's what they were doing during that time. So I'm going to say 50-50, I believe that one. The Montauk chair, I could see even just a chair. I don't know about you, Mike, but there are times I come up to my office and I just sit in the chair in complete quiet.
Yep.
And it helps me concentrate more. So yeah, I can see a chair being used as a psychic amplifier.
I definitely could.
I know for a fact remote viewing works. The government's never denied that in Project Stargate. As a matter of fact, they've come out and they've produced they've allowed documentaries to be produced on it.
Yep.
Members of Project Stargate have been allowed to write books on it, and they don't just talk about traveling in the present. They have said through remote viewing they've been able to remote view to the past. One remote viewer was given coordinates that he was to remote view to, and he described the area, but he said to him it made no sense, and it wasn't until the end of his remote viewing session that he found out that they had sent him to Mars, and he described the area perfectly. He described what satellites showed that area to look like. So I fully believe that the Montauk chair is, if it was going on, I fully believe the Montauk chair was there.
Yeah. The project as a whole, yeah. I believe they had the project. What all they did, I believe they experimented on people, but the Montauk boys, like you said, I don't know if I'm kind of 50-50 on that as well. I don't know. That's something I would have to look or try to look more and find more information on. But, I think it goes, you look at the people that were interviewed in the Chronicles that said they were part of the Montauk boys. Like, people can experience trauma from different things and not remember correctly. So that I don't know about, but the chair, yes, you said it right. I do that all the time where I find a spot to sit and I just sit there all the time and just think about what's going on or just relax, Remote, as far as the remote viewing aspect, I've always been interested in that, and now I do believe in it fully that they're doing it. The more I read on it, the more I believe it. I was just given a book on it actually, and I'm not sure. Let me see if is this it? No, that's not it. This one. I was just given this book. I don't know if you can see that.
Yep, you showed me that.
Yeah. I was recommended that book by someone, and I had always looked at it but never bought it, and then someone just gifted it to me. And so yes, I really good. I 100% believe in the remote viewing. The project itself, though, I kind of think what Nadine said is right. It's so involved. There's so much going on that it's easy to call it a conspiracy. So let's see. Honestly, I think this one could easily tie to so many other paranormal theories.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you research the Montauk boys, and it takes you 12 different directions.
Yep.
You research the Montauk chair, it takes you 12 different directions.
That's what made it hard. And that's kind of why I'm so lost. Like, I know the gist of everything that happened, but trying to put it into words and trying to explain it is pretty difficult.
Yeah,
because
last week, Alien Mike and I had a really good outline of how we wanted the show to go, exactly how we were going to talk.
Yep.
And if you guys were able to see my desk right now, I have 13 pages of notes, and there is no order to them.
Yep, that's my computer right now. Is I've got about 8 different tabs open and a whole bunch of Word documents and stuff I've typed up. That it's a cluster to say the least.
And before we go on with our opinion, though, I forgot 2 things. I mean, this isn't just us. This is mainstream media has picked up on it. You know, this is an article on the New York Times website that it's not. They're not saying the conspiracy theories are real. This article actually said that there was a man that worked there who said he worked in the tunnels. And here's how chaotic it gets. He said, I didn't work in all of the tunnels. I was only allowed in certain areas. But his project was building a small nuclear reactor that would power the facility so they could go completely off the grid. And he said when they boarded up the project and refused to give a year, he didn't say 1981 or 1983. He just said, when we boarded up the project, that reactor is still there and running.
So
that's the New York Times, and Business Insider did the same thing. They were talking about secret experiments that inspired Stranger Things, and they dive into these conspiracies. So it's not just
us.
Weird people like Mike and I. It's the mainstream media is even
talking about it. So, Nadine, real quick, we do have a Facebook group.
You got a Facebook page, but I think a Facebook group is a really good idea.
Oh yeah, see, I was thinking it was a group. Yeah, we can definitely do that. Steve, we can work on that this week as part of our research. We can put together a Facebook group.
We can do that. We'll get that set up.
Yeah, I think that's a really good idea. I was thinking with the Facebook, page that we already have up, but I think that's just a regular page that me and you post on, but nobody else can. You can comment on it, but I don't think anybody can.
I think a group would be great. And hey, Dory, you're better than I am on the piano then, because I've never made it into that. I can do Silver Bells really well. Ask my parents; they got sick of that.
Yeah.
And, Uncle Mike and I'll say hi.
Yeah, Dory, I miss you so much. I miss that kid.
I do too.
Yeah, oh my goodness, she's such a cutie.
I've got an idea. When we create the Facebook page, why don't we get Mama Shenanigator to be one of the moderators?
That
in the Facebook group.
Yeah, I'm totally fine with that because, as Horrific said, it is a lot of work. I'm a moderator on a group that I was basically given control of and it was so difficult that I couldn't do it anymore. There was just so much that I had to do. So yeah,
Um, so the underground tunnels, I'm 100% believer in that. 100%. Do they go down 200 levels? No.
I don't think so.
But it's a World War II and a Cold War bunker. Of course there's tunnels.
Yeah, they wouldn't do it any other way.
The Montauk boys, we've already talked about that. The time travel, the remote viewing, I'm going to say I 75% believe in that because I believe 100% in remote viewing.
Time travel, and that's where I'm at. Time travel, that is something that I have talked with someone extensively about, and if it could happen, yeah, that would be an amazing thing. But to actually make that happen, when you look at the physics behind it, is damn near impossible.
Yeah.
And so if it were ever to happen, I don't think it's going to in my lifetime or even my kids' lifetime. So
that brings us up to the last. The Montauk Monster. I want to believe it. I really do.
Yeah,
but I'm going to say 10%, I believe.
That's one that I'm honestly, I would love to be able to believe in that, but I don't. I
say I believe in it 10% only because I really, really, really want it to be a true story.
Right. And I see what you mean, but I would love for it to be real, but I don't think so at all. I don't believe that.
But we got some volunteers to run the Facebook group.
Yep. Dory is smiling right now.
Mrs. Alien Mike says she can help.
Yep. Dory, figure out the group. Yeah. Dory's in YouTube.
Overall, combine everything that we've talked about tonight on the Montauk Project. I'm going to say I'm divided on it. I'm going to say a lot of experiments probably happened there.
Yeah.
I'll say that.
Yeah, that's where I'm going to have to go. And before I can give an accurate answer on it, I'm going to have to read the book.
Yeah.
Because granted, all the stuff that supposedly happened before, minimum 10 years before that book was ever written. So I want to read that first, with people saying they don't know if it's a fiction book or nonfiction or both or whatnot. I want to read that to make a more informed decision. But the experiments.
For anybody that's interested in the book, there it is again.
Yep. That's the first one. That I think there's like 5 of them in the series.
Yeah.
But yes, like you said, I believe 100% that experiments were going on, but so I can send an invite to the group. Oh, okay. I'm really, yes, we've
scratched the surface. I don't even think we've made a dent in all the conspiracies.
That actually brings up a good point, Steve, because if you remember, I was talking to you about that website, theblackvault.com.
Yeah.
I think his name's John Greenwald or John Greenwald Jr. or something like that. The majority of his stuff is FOIA requests that he spends hours and hours getting. And I tried to find stuff on the Montauk Project from the FOIA aspect, and I couldn't.
I went on and I just did a Google search for FOIA requests on the Montauk Project. And I would keep coming up with official documents all over the place. but every one of them are like denied, denied, denied.
Yeah.
No reason, denied.
And that's what really got to me, is because I saw the same thing. None of it. I mean, if there's anything that can be made public, you're going to be able to find it and get it. It may take you some time, but you'll at least be able to find it. And they just basically denied every FOIA request that went through.
Yeah.
They would not.
And I'm sorry, I don't know how you feel, but if you're just blanket denying everything, even if nothing's there, you're just blanket denying, you're just adding to the conspiracies.
100%. You know, I look at it like when you ask somebody a question and they go, "Oh, I'm not going to answer. I can't answer that." Well, yeah, you can. You can just say no, but the fact that you won't give the answer, you're leading me to believe that, whatever. So definitely.
While we're talking here, wrapping this up, let us know in the comments what you guys think of the Montauk Project, whether you believe or you don't believe. I can guarantee you guys, we are talking Montauk again. Once, twice, 3 times, because it just keeps going.
Yeah, that's definitely something I want to talk about again. It's, I don't, like you said, think we even barely touched the surface of it. It's the only issue. I think we'd have a lot more information if we could find more information. So in a week to try to find everything is difficult. It's going to take some time.
I thought we were going to be able to just, hey, we have a week. We're going to be able to nail the Montauk Project down. But you open up one web page, it brings you to 3 more different conspiracies.
Yeah, and that was the problem.
Honestly, I didn't even talk about all the conspiracies I've got listed here tonight. We just did like 4.
No, yeah, and see, I'm gonna let me pull this up. Where's it at? I know I've got it here somewhere, but it talks about, all the different things, when you get into interdimensional time travel, anything they were doing for the military. And there was just so much to go on. And like you said, you look at just the military aspect, and that's going to bring you to a whole bunch of other stuff that you have to figure out.
And while we do wrap it up, hit that like button. If you're interested in this type of stuff, you think we're doing a halfway decent job, let us know. Hit that like button.
Yeah. Feel free to comment. Go to YouTube. I know some people are already commenting on YouTube. I don't know who some of them are, but
yep.
Yeah, definitely needs
100%. It needs more and more. And I feel like we came on prepared, but unprepared.
That's how the whole time. So if you watch any like mysteries or cop dramas, how they have a huge whiteboard and they're putting the papers up with lines, through it. That's what I almost took a wall and just said, fuck it, here we go, to try to figure out all this stuff. And no matter what I wrote down, how I wrote it, it was, I know a lot of the information. It's just trying to tie it all together is real difficult.
I mean, the Montauk Project was like, what, a 15-year span? But there were conspiracies from Camp Hero starting in the 50s.
Mm-hmm.
And the one thing we didn't even talk about tonight is in the Montauk Chronicles, they actually talk about aliens helping us in these tunnels. Not just flying in, but aliens lived with us in the tunnels.
Yep. I read that too. I'm glad you brought that up. But there's, I mean, I really don't know what else to say other than it's going to take a long time to be able to go through everything. And my suggestion is pick one part of it. Let's say the Montauk chair. Well, no, don't say that, because that goes to everything.
That's what led us to this chaos tonight.
Yeah. just find out about or Preston Nichols and just do, you have to do one thing at a time and then try to tie them all together.
I don't think I have a whiteboard big enough.
Yeah, and I already thought about it. I already thought about getting one just for that.
Yeah.
So
and there's even more than that. It just keeps going and going and going.
Yeah, and see, with him, that's what made me feel like we know the information, but we also don't. There is just, with as much as we know, there's still so much more out there that it's almost like we really don't know anything about it.
Yeah, at one point during this week, I didn't want to bring this up because all of a sudden it makes me feel like that guy in yeah, I've got whiteboards. I don't know if she'll let me put any more up. I don't want to be that guy you always see on the movies in an RV, going live on the internet, talking about all the conspiracies that are going on, and you just know he's just completely lost his mind.
So you're talking about me, right?
No, even beyond both of us combined.
I thought, yeah.
Here's where I really came up with a strange thought. What if some of these experiments were going on, but the government created the other conspiracies to add so much to this that there was no way to find the actual truth? And I know at that point it makes me sound like a nutcase that the government's doing this, but
what's up, Chris?
What's going on, Chris?
Haven't seen you for a while. Glad you could be here. That's funny that you mentioned that, because I've thought the same thing over other different things I've read and researched over the years, that I can almost guarantee, well, our government's that clever.
It's a valid question.
100% valid question, but
I think the secretive parts of the government are.
Yes, I 100% believe that they will throw things. Okay, perfect example. Go back to 2 weeks ago when we did the Battle of Los Angeles, where they essentially covered up what was happening and said, "Oh no, it's just a blimp, or it's just a weather balloon." That in itself is a cover-up to avoid having to talk about it. Or
I will say this: are elected officials and appointed by the elected officials? No, they are not that clever.
Nope.
It's the clever people are the contractors.
Yeah, it's the people like I'll use Lou Elizondo from Eminent and ATIP and all that. People like that are clever.
Yeah. So, I mean, Dr. Travis Taylor, when he took over that project, very clever.
Yeah.
But
100%. So it's
I think what I was thinking of is, I mean, if you want to get a secret out there, tell a government employee to keep it a secret.
Mm-hmm.
So a contractor that worked at the Montauk Project, that, I mean, let's just say it was part of Project Stargate, remote viewing only. The Montauk chair was there to amplify their ability.
Yeah.
But you want to make sure that nobody can find out that you're doing Project Stargate there. So you start putting out information like the Montauk Boys, the Montauk Monster, the aliens are living here with us.
Yep. Well,
and you say, this is secret, don't tell anybody.
Yeah. Well, that reminds me of, if you remember, a few weeks ago when I was talking to you about Gaia, the subscription service I have, they interviewed that guy, Emery Smith on there, who supposedly worked at Area 51 and Los Alamos, but he talks about being at Alamos, and he was some kind of surgeon or doctor, and his job there was to dissect whatever samples they gave him. And he talks about everything he saw down there, but he also said they were good at cloning. And the guy, David Wilcox, interviewing him, said, well, why would they clone an alien? Why would they do something like that? And he said, simple, in case somebody decides to become a whistleblower and spill everything, if anybody shows up, they can say, what are you talking about? This is what they saw. This is obviously fake. It's just plastic. So hiding it in plain sight.
So, but the only bad part is when I started thinking of all this, that's when I started picturing myself as the kooks calling Art Bell for attention.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to have a good time with the conspiracies. I want to believe them all, but I don't want to end up being that nutcase that, needs to be committed. I'm sure it'll be eventually. My wife will have to be committed someday.
Oh, yeah. I'll be right there with you. Because I've honestly thought the same thing. And there were times during this that I had to stop researching because I was getting too into it, where I was sitting up until 4 o'clock in the morning reading stuff and just.
I was preparing.
I just couldn't stop. I was too involved.
I was preparing for my state inspection. I realized I'd wasted 2.5 hours researching this.
Yep.
And I've got the inspection in like 48 hours, and I'm a little bit behind. So let's spend 2.5 hours doing absolutely no work whatsoever.
Yep.
And I did it while my boss was sitting there. Dear Lord, I hope she's not watching this podcast or watching it in the future. I was working the whole time. I meant while I was working from home, not at the office.
Yep. Not at work. Yeah, when we were doing last week's episode, I was so invested in what I was researching, and I was getting so involved in it. And I thought, good Lord, it can't get any worse than that. And then, let's do the Montauk.
Yeah.
And it was nonstop. But it was a lot of fun, and I'm definitely going to look more into this.
Yeah. So for all you guys that are still with us, expect a lot more on Montauk. Yep. And we are going to tie it into more MK Ultra,
Philadelphia,
Phoenix, Philadelphia experiment.
Yep.
So expect a lot more.
Yep. So with that being said, I'll have you
committed. I just read what that said, so I backed away from it real quick.
Yeah,
financial backup first.
Yeah. What are we talking about next week?
I like the fact that we kept this one a secret for a couple of days. I say we do the same thing.
Okay.
And we do have one announcement confirmed coming up soon.
Yep. Do you want me to make that announcement right now, or do you want me to wait?
You know what? The floor's yours, Alien Mike. Make the announcement.
Okay. I don't know. Carl, are you still on? I don't know if he's still on because of the time difference there. But on the 20th, it'll be announce it. On Saturday the 20th, Carl Svensson from Sweden, good friend of mine, is going to come on, and we're basically going to give the floor to him, and he's going to talk about a few different UFO-related things that have happened in Sweden, and then he may give some, I think he said paranormal, like I don't know if I want to say historical, but famous paranormal stories that have happened in Sweden. That's part of their lore. So that'll be Saturday the 20th, and I think it's going to be at noon my time, we decided. So
Eastern time.
Yeah, so 2 o'clock Eastern time.
And for anybody in Sweden, 8 o'clock.
That's 8 o'clock. Yep, 8 o'clock their time.
So I am looking forward to hearing Carl's stories. I have been fascinated with a couple of UFO events in Sweden, and I'm hoping that he talks about it. I'm sure he will.
Yeah, there's quite a few, and on that, just to throw it out there, there is a movie called UFO Sweden, and I'm not sure where I watched it at. Maybe Hulu or Amazon Prime or something like that. But it's a fictional story, but a fictional movie, but it's based on the UFO that landed in the one of the lakes in Sweden, and them trying to figure out what to do to recover it and stuff like that.
So yeah, it would be Sweden's Roswell, I think is how it was described.
Yep, exactly. And I'm pretty sure if let me I'm sure I've got it in here. I got all these from Carl, but it's a Swedish UFO magazine that they put out every month, and I think it's in one of these. But
so yeah,
that's for the 20th.
It'll be up on the channel shortly, but that's Saturday the 20th. Usually we do these on Friday, but because of time schedules and time differences, we're going to make an exception and do Saturday, 2 p.m. Eastern time for Carl.
He was worried. He didn't want to mess up our schedule, and because he wants people to they're used to being here on Friday, and I said, no, we're going to accommodate you so you can come on. So if people can make it, that would be absolutely fantastic. If you have prior obligations, that's totally understandable.
And before we take off, if you guys enjoy this, go check out the Horrific podcast.
Yes, definitely.
It is a fun podcast to watch. They review movies, and the ones I've seen, brutally honest reviews. I love it.
Yeah.
They do some other things as well. So go check out our good friends over at the Horrific podcast.
Yep.
Give them a follow as well. And here in the near future, you will probably see Sergeant Shenanigator and Alien Mike over on his channel, and we'll be reviewing a movie with them.
Yep. And real quick, Nadine, you're 14 hours ahead of me. So if we do it at noon, my time, it's going to be at like 2 o'clock in the morning, 2 o'clock in the morning your time. So on that Saturday.
Where is Nadine at?
Oz, I think.
Oh, okay.
Or maybe not. Somewhere over there. I can't remember exactly. I thought it was Oz, but they're like 14 or 15 hours ahead.
Somewhere into tomorrow.
Yeah, definitely tomorrow. Tasmania, that's right. So I think I was close. I thought Tasmania was part of Australia, but I could be wrong.
You'll find out momentarily if you were wrong. She'll correct you.
Oh, yeah, she definitely will. At least I didn't call her British.
Oh.
Right down the bottom of the convict island. There you go. She said it for me.
So,
okay.
I am still working on our other guest to lock down a date, but I'm really looking forward to her coming on as well. As soon as we lock down that date, I should actually know tomorrow.
Okay. Yeah. Me and you had already talked about that. I hope you can, get it worked out. Mike, slap yourself. Yeah. Do you have anything else that?
I got nothing else tonight, man. You?
Okay. I think I'm good. Just be prepared. Sunday or Monday, be prepared for an update on next week's episode. There you go, Sid. I'm slapping myself. You just wanted that on video, didn't you?
So,
all right.
Last thing, thank you guys for joining us tonight.
We appreciate it.
Enjoy reading all the comments and interacting with you guys. We really appreciate it. One more time, you probably get sick and tired of hearing it, but we're going to continue saying it. If you like what you heard, go hit that like button.
There you go. Like and subscribe.
If you have weird friends like Alien Mike and I, share it with people.
Yep. Share it with anybody and everybody.
Yeah. So until next week, you guys stay crazy.
Yep. Have a good night, guys.
Mike, we'll talk to you later, man.
Yep. Sounds
Good night,
good.
everybody.
Night.